Alright guys, so welcome to part 3 of why you should give me $1 billion. Uh, so what's next? I've talked a lot about audio. Pretty much, I've spent so much time talking about audio. So now I'm gonna cover some like miscellaneous ideas. So HIV is a retrovirus, right? So that means it inserts its DNA into human cells to reproduce. Therefore, it may have transcription factors and epigenetic factors that help it reproduce. Um, so that means like when DNA is being like transcribed into like RNA, like there's like certain like the HIV gets like pretty much like inserted, as far as I know, like pretty much like randomly in the genome, which is why like it causes cancer. Um, and that means like as your DNA is being like transcribed, normal human proteins are created, but then also the HIV proteins are kind of like hacked in there. It might be sort of like linked into like it might have like long non-coding like RNAs or something. And so like maybe these like factors can be like hacked to silence those HIV genes. Maybe there's like some way to like silence the thing that like triggers it to be transcribed, or maybe there's some kind of like RNA sequence that can be wrapped around those sections of DNA to like silence it. Who knows? Next, Wi-Fi-Seeking drone. It turns out that those pesky FBI surveillance fan Wi-Fi hotspots are pretty much like all over the place. I've seen them in like New York and Virginia. I'm pretty sure it's just like one of my neighbors or something. I don't know. Uh, Anyways, so it'd be cool to have like a Wi-Fi seeking drone. And you just like have an iPhone app, and like you just like release your drone, and it just like you tell it like what MAC address to look for, or you tell it like what channel to seek, or you give it certain parameters, and it just like so basically just like uses like a cost function to like fly toward the stronger signals, um, without like running into things or whatever. But that was not really that serious. All right, so what should I do next? Video games? Okay, yeah. Let's do video games. How about like a voice-based 3D puzzle game where you use your voice to like manipulate objects on screen to like solve puzzles. I'm not really sure how you would like implement that, but it would be cool to like have some kind of like mobile game where you're like using your voice to like solve puzzles or do something. And I'm sure there's stuff like that already out there, but I thought it was a pretty cool idea. It'd probably be pretty hard to implement and play, but I mean, I think there's something there. Or how about like a epigenetics based like Pac-Man clone? It's not really a clone because like you'd be like navigating through like shifting mazes, and you'd be like transcribing the DNA. It would need to be like a simplified like model. But you would like produce like as you're like going through the puzzle, instead of just like eating all the dots, like you would be like producing little byproducts of like the part of the maze that you're going through. And the biggest difference between like Pac-Man and this would be that like your maze would like shift. So like maybe like after you like, and it would be just kind of like floating around and stuff. And like maybe it would like actually like change, and you could like open certain like gates or whatever. I haven't really thought about how it would like completely work out, but I'm thinking like it would be like it wouldn't like I wouldn't really want it to be like really like educational, but like it might like sort of like teach about like it might help people think about like what it would be like to transcribe DNA, and like how like different products of DNA transcription can be combined together, like long non-coding RNAs or mRNAs or piRNAs. Um, these are like little like byproducts, like little like snippets. Like mRNAs can like upregulate or downregulate the expression of other genes. Like piRNAs like will like attach to like proteins and like upregulate or downregulate genes. Really should remember that. Like whether it's up or down. I think it's a little bit of both. Interesting note. Recently I saw an article that says sperm is packed full of me RNAs. That's me, baby. Like mRNAs, not like literally me, but what this means is that like somehow the body has like a mechanism for like upregulating and downregulating genes in the next generation. And I think this is like a mammalian thing, but it sort of makes sense, but it also kind of like breaks Occam's razor. Like so, there's like a huge advantage to this mechanism because like having your experiences like determine what genes are like up or down regulated in the next direction means that like the things that were useful to you in this generation are going to be like kind of like propagated to the next generation. So it's sort of like Lamarckian or whatever, which is kind of funny that that guy was like basically laughed off stage and like suddenly like 200 years later. Um, anyways, just kind of like interesting that I, I don't know. I really need to look more into those articles and that study in particular, but it'd be pretty cool. Anyway, next game. How about like connect like pop and lock dance visualizations? And I know there's stuff out there like this, but what I'm thinking of is like the Connect like picks up your joint movements, right, and then correlates them to like pop and lock techniques like waving, tutting, whatever. So you like teach it how to like recognize these like pop and lock techniques, like strobing or whatever. And so like the game like categorizes the directional and temporal components of your movement and like the patterns of things and like correlates that to the music, and then uses like that information to create like visualizations based on like the types of dance moves that you're doing. And they could just be like visualizations like particle effects, or it could like distort like the geometry of your body, although that would be a little bit like weird if like you were trying to dance and look at visualization of your dance, your dancing or whatever, and like your body itself was like being distorted. But I mean, you could do something with that. It's kind of interesting, and I think I've seen some guys in like I think I saw some guys at a hackathon in Denver that did something like that. Um, okay, so next idea. How about a geographic meshnet platform for augmented reality apps? It would use the Indian library that's like named data networking. Um, yeah, okay, so that's a big idea. It would take a lot of investments, but and it needs some explaining. So good luck on that one. If you'd like to talk to me about it, I'd love to explain it to you. It would be pretty fucking huge. Um, so here's another idea that uses the Indian MeshNet library. So it'd be like an Internet of Things configuration manager using like NFC and NDN. Um, so like you could have like I don't know like a pair of headphones, and you could also have one of those cell phone things. I actually forgot where it was. Anyways, so like your headphones would have like I don't know like NFC in them, and you would just like tap it, and it would like you wouldn't have to like push this button like 14 times and be like, what the fuck is it doing? Like why isn't it connecting? You would just like beep boop, and it would just like connect your fucking shit, and it would also like provide like beyond just like syncing your headphones, this MeshNet Indian NFC library would basically you could like tell it how to like configure things, and so you could like tell your phone like okay like you just do like something to like tell your phone how to configure it, and like when you tap your headphones it would tell your headphones like okay like I'm tapping my headphones like to my phone, but I want it to sync to my computer, or you would be able to and you could like I mean headphones aren't really like Internet of Things, are they? No, they're not. But you could also like configure like sensors and whatever, and this could also like help you like configure like sensors or certain devices that like you either don't want to be connected to the network at all, or you know you want like minimal network connection, or so like if certain devices aren't connected to the network at all, like I mean they would definitely consume a lot less power and they would be more secure. So perhaps more importantly, oath authentication can be applied towards this Internet of Things configuration idea to provide a layer of like authentication and authorization for the Internet of Things, and that is oath authentication, by the way, and not OAuth. You probably haven't heard of it yet because it's from the future. Um, anyway, moving on. So I mean, I know that Nest and like Google and other companies are working on Internet of Things and solving the problems in that domain. I think this at least at one time was fairly original. I'm sure people have like thought of how to do this, but so you'll use the combination of an NFC device like your YubiKey and like a device like a cell phone or maybe a device specifically for configuring certain Internet of Things devices. Um, and you'll use that to like authorize certain configuration changes, and like having like the NFC on there requires that you would be like in there like in person to make the changes, and like oath and like the YubiKey and like FIDO and UTF. I'm pretty sure, like I don't know all these like protocols like uh, as well as I'd like to. So in order to become more secure uh, and to provide better authorization, Google has like implemented YubiKeys and distributed YubiKeys to a lot of their developers. I don't know if they all have YubiKeys, but the YubiKey is like a little key that you basically it's the thing that you have, and then you also have like the password, which is the thing that you know. And so you can plug your USB YubiKey into your laptop, or you can use NFC. You can use like the NFC functionality of the YubiKey, and you can access the passwords in your password file with the thing that you have and the thing that you know. It's a lot more secure. Okay, next, antivirus for firmware. That's another one for computer scientists. Basically, like there's like a lot of like worrying like firmware vulnerabilities where like some operating systems will load like code that should not be trusted from like USB devices or HDMI devices or whatever. So you plug in like a jump drive or something like that, and like there's like malicious drivers that are like signaled to be deployed by like the hardware, and they get loaded onto the operating system, and like the operating system just like runs the code because it's not signed, uh, and so like you gotta this will probably be resolved by like better like by just like forcing hardware drivers to be signed. But it would be nice to have like antivirus for firmware, so you can like just like diagnose like when like firmware is doing things that it shouldn't. You can just like plug your device into something that's like, yeah, this is like this firmware doesn't match any known signatures, or this firmware like mostly hashes out except for like this section which looks like it's been modified, or like yeah, it would be like really useful to be able to catch that stuff, because like if your operating system does like load untrusted code from like a firmware device, usually it's like really bad and can be used to like install like rootkits, which are like just really hard to remove. If you get a rootkit, just like throw your computer away. Like, like a lot of times you really like can't without extended effort like remove a rootkit and like know that it's been removed. Like you might like disrupt it so that it can't like function in the way that it was originally intended to function. So okay, so here's another one. You could like generate like memes using like slightly distorted capture text to avoid automated text parsing, so that people on social media can communicate in using memes that resist categorization by artificial intelligence. So like memes have like the image component, which is pretty easy to like identify like a common meme image. But then they usually have like the text component, which is like fairly easy for like optical character recognition to like read. I don't think that's a very hard problem. I mean, it's not like it's much more complicated than reading text, of course. But if you like slightly distort it, then it becomes like way harder. And if you'll notice, like all the memes out there use mostly the same fonts, or all of the like meme generator memes. So this will make it a little bit harder to do pattern mining with memes on social media. And how about a service to like host subtitles in multiple languages for media like TV or anime? You could like hook this service into Netflix or Hulu and watch your favorite TV shows in English, but with Spanish subtitles, so you can learn as you watch TV. And this app is like more of a feature than a product, but I want it so that I can learn Japanese. Like I'd like to watch, you know, anime, but with like Japanese subtitles, and I want to like be able to like find subtitles that don't have kanji because I just can't. I really can't read kanji right now. I can recognize like 20 symbols. At one point, I could recognize like 50. And that's about it. It's really hard to learn if you don't write it. If you write it, it's actually not that hard. You just gotta like spend a ton of time. All right. So what about like a video system to replay video from multiple angles and like multiple time points? So I kind of want this so that I can like practice pop locking. So it would be like having like a mirror so that you could watch yourself in real time from multiple angles. And maybe you could even throw it on a drone, and your drone is like, helps you learn to dance, and you like stream the video from multiple cameras on your, or you stream the video from multiple drones into like, onto your like TV or whatever, and that way like you can observe your body movements from like multiple angles. So this product like solves the problem where you want to learn to dance and you've got like a mirror to watch yourself in, but like you want to avoid like having your head locked to the mirror as you're dancing. How about bytecode execution pattern mining? This one's for the computer science, and this is like similar to how antivirus works. And this probably already exists in some form, but you just like observe like the patterns of like bytecode execution that are occurring on like you should like observe like what permissions like a process has and like the patterns of like bytecode that are being executed and the devices that it's accessing and like in the way that it's accessing them, and you just like watch for like weird patterns, and you can do this like across a lot of different devices. You can like categorize like certain functions in a program and be like, okay, yeah, like this is normal behavior, like 99% of the apps out there running this function, but hey, here's this like weird thing, this like weird pattern that we've only seen on like one phone or whatever. And so that's like that's really similar to like how antivirus works, and it probably exists in some form. But I mean, antivirus just like scans like the bytecode and the binary and like tries to like match like the patterns to like known virus signatures. But this is similar to that, but in like real time, so it could probably catch like certain like payload execution strategies. And I don't even know how to hack. Like I really don't like. I'm out of my league right now, like with what I'm talking about. But it would be cool, and it probably already exists. I just don't know about it. So this next one is like RTMP stream multiplexing, like WTF, right? What is RTMP stream multiplexing? Twitch allows you to stream video using this protocol. So does livecoding.tv. But while I'm streaming to Twitch, I can't stream to livecoding.tv, right? There should exist some service that allows you to multiplex your video streams. So you could stream to multiple services online, and you could like create like a network of these services, and I could just like instantly stream to like Twitch and live coding at the same time, maybe other providers as well. So that way I don't have to like dedicate myself to one platform and like dedicate myself to like growing my follower base there while neglecting the other platform. And so this would help me as like a live streamer, and I could reach more people, and it would be easier for people to use multiple services to reach my content. And it would also like place incentives in the hands of the streamers, so that like maybe uh, one streaming video provider can like negotiate exclusivity with certain streamers or whatever. Um, so you could even like toggle between input video streams. So like you could have like a RTMP stream multiplexer like server online, and like you and your friend could like do pair programming live using this RTMP stream multiplexer. So you could like stream to the server, your intermediate server, and so does your friend, and then like you just like tell the server when to switch the video to the one that needs to be sent to like Twitch or livecoding.tv, and you can do like interesting things like that. And something like this could exist already, and I'm sure it actually does exist in some form in like the entertainment industry. And Cisco's done a lot of stuff with streaming video, like in hardware, and like providing like streaming video services and hardware. So they probably have some kind of like hardware based like implementation of this or something. Um, Definitely wouldn't surprise me to learn that. But this service just basically hasn't been POSed yet, and POS equals product as a service. So like nobody's like come up with like a product as a service to do this in the cloud for consumers. And if you're someone who like really wants to like commit to like growing a follower base on a live streaming service, like this would be like really useful for you. And so how about like another live streaming idea, which would be to it'd be like Twitch but for like interviewing people. So like you could probably like do this like with one video stream, but you can't like interview someone like remotely. It would be kind of cool to like just it'd be sort of like a podcast, but like you'd be like interviewing someone, and you could be remote and you could be like streaming it to your followers. I'm not sure how big the market would be for that, but it would be like interesting, and it might just be like it might be more of a use case for an existing product than like a separate product itself. So that's pretty much it for part three. Part four is going to be I'm going to talk a little bit about AI, and I'm going to talk about like genetics and bioinformatics and stuff like that. Don't forget to subscribe, y'all.